This is OwlUp, where learning happens in minutes, not hours. For a deeper journey, explore all our courses at owlup.co. Now, let's dive in. Welcome back to Chapter 2 of How to Build Generational Wealth, where we're diving into real estate investing fundamentals. Today, we're breaking down all the different ways you can put your money to work in property, from rental houses to REITs and everything in between. Let's get into it. An ordinary 3-bedroom house can quietly out-earn a high-paying tech job over a lifetime. A young engineer closes on a slightly worn duplex, unsure it's a mistake. 10 years later, that average property has paid for her freedom more reliably than any startup bonus. Most people think real estate wealth comes from spotting the next hot neighborhood or buying cheap and waiting. In reality, the compounding power you're after hides in 3 less glamorous skills: reading the numbers, respecting debt, and running a boringly well-operated building. This series is about those fundamentals, not lottery ticket flips. We'll look at why a 5.1% cap rate might be excellent in one city and terrible in another, how a mortgage jumping from 3% to 7% can turn a deal into a time bomb, and why some investors quietly prefer REIT shares to directly owning a condo. You'll see how different asset classes behave more like instruments in a band than interchangeable real estate, each with its own rhythm, risk, and role in your portfolio. And you'll learn how disciplined systems, not heroic instincts, turn a single purchase into durable, generational wealth. Real estate isn't one game, it's a whole arcade. A small duplex, a strip mall, a warehouse, a land parcel, and a REIT share can all sit at the same dollar value on a spreadsheet, yet behave completely differently when interest rates jump or rents soften. Some pay you steadily but grow slowly. Others barely pay today but can explode in value if the right zoning change lands. Your job is less find the best deal and more pick the right arena, matching each property type to your timeline, risk appetite, and how involved you're willing to be day to day. The first fork in the road is how you want to own real estate at all. On one side is direct ownership. You're on the title for a duplex, a small office, a warehouse condo. You control the tenant criteria, the paint color, the lease terms, when to refinance, when to sell. The trade-off is responsibility. When the roof leaks at 2 a.m., it's conceptually your problem, even if you hire a property manager. On the other side are securities and platforms that represent real estate, public REITs, private funds, and newer fractional models that let you buy slivers of a building or loan. Here you trade control for liquidity and diversification. You can exit with a few clicks, but you don't decide whether the operator raises rents or replaces the parking lot. Within direct ownership, your lane matters even more than your location. Small residential, 1 to 4 units. Driven by local wages, school quality, and household formation. Vacancies hurt, but one good tenant can stabilize the whole asset. Financing is usually friendlier, especially for owner-occupants. Larger multifamily. Behaves more like a business. You're managing dozens or hundreds of micro-customers. Slight changes in average rent or expenses compound across many units. Retail and office. Your customer is a business, not a family. Lease terms are longer, build-outs are specialized, and shifts in e-commerce or remote work can matter more than population growth. Industrial and logistics. Often fewer tenants, more square footage, and users who care less about aesthetics and more about truck access, clear heights, and power. These can be surprisingly resilient in downturns tied to consumer spending. Land. Little income, often negative carry, but exposure to future zoning, infrastructure, or path of growth changes. You're betting on tomorrow's map, not today's rent roll. A good starting point is to decide whether your unfair advantage is local knowledge and sweat or capital and patience. That answer narrows which arenas deserve your attention now and which can wait for a later chapter of your investing career. Think of each real estate choice like picking a role in a small startup. Buying a local duplex is like being a founder-operator. You're close to the customer. You notice when the neighborhood coffee shop is always packed, and you can act fast. Raise rents after renovations, add storage, maybe install coin laundry to nudge income up. A small industrial condo, by contrast, is more like selling shovels in a gold rush. Your tenant might be a plumbing company or an e-commerce shipper. You're betting that the need for functional space outlasts trend cycles. The same person can wear different hats over time. Early in your career, trading evenings and weekends to self-manage might make sense if it lets you force appreciation in one scruffy triplex. Later, you might shift some capital into a logistics-heavy syndication, accepting less control in exchange for exposure to regions you'll never visit. The key is noticing where your real-world insight actually gives you an edge, then aligning each dollar with that, instead of defaulting to whatever's popular this year. Zoning reform, climate maps, and shifting demographics will quietly redraw your opportunity set. Instead of asking, "Is this a good deal?" you'll also ask, "Is this use still the highest and best 5-10 years out?" A sleepy office corridor might become tomorrow's residential hub. A cheap coastal town could turn costly once insurers reprice flood risk. Treat local policy changes and infrastructure plans like early demo tracks from a new artist, rough, but hinting where the real hits may emerge. Over time, you'll learn which mix of local hustle and arm's-length ownership actually fits your life. Maybe that's one scrubby fourplex plus a quiet basket of REITs. Maybe it's no tenants at all, just stakes and skilled operators. Your challenge this week? Map your current skills like a city grid and mark where you realistically want your first address. This was OwlUp, your daily step forward. To keep learning with structured courses and more insights, go to owlup.co. Until tomorrow.